What up, roomies? Imagine living your entire life believing one story about who you are, where you're coming from, and who your family is. And then one day you find out it's not true. Not partly wrong, completely wrong. Tonight's guest has lived that reality. What started as a search for answers turned into a full blown investigation, family secrets, hidden truths, and a journey that forced her to question everything she thought she knew about herself. She turned her experience into her book, The Daddy Files, a story about identity, forgiveness, and what happens when the truth finally comes out. Melissa, welcome to Neighbors.
Thank you, sir. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. And when I saw your story, it was so I was just scrolling through and I was like, this sounds insane, and you just like piqued my curiosity. So I was just like, I gotta talk to you. I gotta see what's up. I gotta, dive a little bit more into this. So you definitely piqued my curiosity with your story, and we're gonna hopefully we'll share enough that you're anything that you're comfortable with, and
Oh, sure.
have a great chat. So,
Sounds
um,
good.
where were you when you first realized something about your story didn't add up?
Actually, I was in my house
Yeah,
and I was working on the family tree of the man that I thought was my father.
yeah,
And I was looking for information about his birth mother or his mother because she had been murdered before I was born. And so I thought, I couldn't find anything about her. So I thought maybe I had her name wrong. Maybe I wasn't remembering it right. So I
yeah.
was digging through papers that I had looking for her name. And in the process, I looked at his military discharge papers and saw his blood type. And I knew what my mother's was, and I knew what mine was. And this little voice in the back of my head goes, he's not your father.
True,
Can't
true.
happen.
Well, isn't it because like blood types are usually passed through the father, right?
Well, I don't, that part I can't tell you.
Right.
I just know that for my blood type, what the man on my birth certificate, it was the only blood type that mine could not be, that my
Oh,
father's could not be.
oh
And
snap.
so, yeah,
That's
because
crazy.
something to do with like my mom's is B and his was AB and mine's O and couldn't be. So,
So what did you do next after you found this out? Like, did you start asking questions or
yeah, I thought, well, maybe I didn't remember that right because high school biology was a long time ago for me.
yeah?
Yeah, it took me three times before I passed that subject, but it was a long time ago. So I
Yeah.
called somebody and asked, and she's a doctor, she's a gynecologist, and she was like, eh. So
Mm,
she confirmed what I knew. And then I called my mom, and I was laughing because I was okay with this. I
okay.
wasn't close to the man for lots of
Yeah.
reasons, and I
Yeah.
was really okay with it because at that point my thought was, "Hey, I have the potential to have a better birth father
True.
and one that might be around and might want to get to know me." And so I was laughing when I called my mom,
Mm.
and she was like, "Oh no, no, that's wrong." And
Mm.
then she doubled down and said I was switched at birth, and yeah. And that's when
That's crazy.
things weren't so fun anymore.
Oh
So,
man. So your mother knew that you were switched at birth. Like, for how long
oh,
did
I
she know
wasn't,
this?
sorry. No, no, hold on. I should have given the spoiler there. I wasn't switched at birth.
All
That's
right.
just what
Cool.
she said. Versus admitting that she had lied about who the guy was. That's what she went with. So,
Oh, that's crazy. How that's wild. But why would she
yeah,
say that versus just saying that? Yeah, that's not your real dad.
I think she was embarrassed,
Mm.
ashamed. And like I told her, I didn't really care. I mean, it was the late 60s, didn't care how I was conceived, didn't care if it was a one night stand, an orgy, a threesome, a married man, did not give, I didn't
Yeah.
care because I wouldn't be here if
True.
it hadn't happened.
True on
So,
that. And you wouldn't have had your amazing journey. So like when you found all
yeah.
this out, what like sparked you to like kind of like dive deeper and like find out who you really
Lots of
are?
things.
Talk to me.
um,
Talk to me.
okay, so you see this blonde hair, blue eyes, fair
Mm,
complexion.
yeah.
I grew up thinking that I was part Cherokee. You know.
Nah,
So the birth father that I grew up with was part Cherokee.
yeah.
Yeah, no.
Nah.
Should have been a real big clue. Um, so, in finding out that he wasn't my birth father, I lost that, along with all of his relatives that I wasn't close with.
Yeah.
But I mean, I lost half of my identity. I lost my grandparents, my great grandparents, everything that I thought I knew about my history and my family tree, I lost. And I wanted to know. And I lost the medical aspect as well.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to know. I needed to know. So that gave me
The push.
the want, the push. And
So before you found all this out, like how was life for you like growing up before like you found out that your the father that you thought was your dad wasn't your dad?
well, he wasn't around for one. So my mom and he divorced when I was a baby, and she remarried when I was 8 years old. So that was actually my dad, the
Okay.
man who raised me. And so my fake birth father, as I call him, growing up, I always called him the sperm donor. Can't call him that anymore. He was my fake birth father. Um, he wasn't really around until I was 21, and that's when I really got to know him.
Yeah.
But so there was a emptiness growing up because he wasn't there, and I had questions even growing up about what he was like. What did he like? What was he like as a child, as a teen? Did I have any similarities? Did I
Yeah.
walk like him, talk like him? Why wasn't he around? Why did he leave me? Was I not good enough for him to want to stay around? I had all of that going on. And so when I searched for him and found him at 18, and then he pulled a disappearing act again,
Yeah.
um, then I searched for him again and found him when I was 21, and he stuck around that time. Uh,
Yeah.
I got to know him really, and it filled some of those needs,
Yeah.
but not all. So there was always questions, and they were suddenly back. So
All right. So when you guys like reconnected and it felt like some of the void that you had, did you still feel that excuse me, did you still feel that there was still something off about the situation?
yeah, but it was because there was a disconnect.
Yeah.
He he really didn't want to be in a relationship with me. He didn't want to. He made excuses, and he was an alcoholic, and he was abusive to my mom, which is why she left. And yeah,
Yeah.
he just
No, I got it. I got it.
not yeah, it was really a blessing in disguise that he was not around. I just didn't know that growing up. It took me until I was in my 20s, 30s, and 40s before I realized it.
No, I get that. And usually it takes people, especially when you're like trying to find that piece that's missing.
Mhm.
It usually takes us a little
Yes.
bit of time for us to mature and actually like live life to say, oh, okay, this person would have not been good for me in my development. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you confronted your mom about, your birth father and she told you switched that birth, how did you like start your investigation into actually like finding out who your dad is and who and like and filling in all those pieces, like what was like your process and like what did he go through and all
So I
that?
dug.
I believe
And
it.
so my mom was 19 and moved from Texas, where her family was and where she was living,
Yeah.
and moved to Montana. And I was like, okay, mom, you left your whole family in Texas, Louisiana area and went so far away and you did it in December. Why? Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, Texas is a little bit warmer than Montana.
yeah.
And
The Montana
yeah,
in December is a beautiful place.
no,
Don't get me wrong.
yeah,
Montana is a
no,
beautiful place,
I,
but
yes, it is
Montana
beautiful.
winters are harsh.
Yes, they are. And so she wouldn't answer me about when I would ask her questions specifically about who my father was, she wouldn't answer.
Mm,
So I got to where I would ask questions around about, I'd go at it a different way. Like, why did you move to Montana? What made you go there? I
yeah.
mean, seriously. So she told me her high school boyfriend's brother suggested it. I was like, really? So then I was like, well, what's his name? Just out of curiosity, you know.
Yeah.
And picture a little halo here. Uh, and she was like, well, his first name was Johnny, but she couldn't remember his last name because it was different than his brother's. It's like, oh, okay. Again, Miss Innocent. So I tracked down her high school boyfriend.
Bam. First lead.
And, yep, first lead. And contacted him and called him, had him on the phone. And he told me first off, he said, okay, my wife's on the phone too. I've got it on speaker. And I was like, great. And he
Cool.
goes, okay. And he knew why I was calling, that I was looking for my birth father.
Yeah.
And he goes, first question, what's your birthday? And I'm like, oh. And so I gave him my birthday. And he goes, there's a pause for a minute. And he goes, okay, I'm not your father. And I'm like, oh, I
Okay.
did not expect that. I did not even consider him as being my birth father.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it had never even crossed my mind. I'm like, okay, let's add you to the list and mark you off.
All right. You're off the list, even though you weren't on it.
Yeah, exactly. And so we talked for a while, and his wife was super sweet, and he was very kind, and I got some stories that I had grown up with clarified, and because I got a
Okay.
new perspective on it. And he gave me his brother's name and number, but he had already passed away. And I ended up talking to his widow and his son and did a DNA test with him because even though I had wanted to track down his brother, I didn't anticipate him being an option as my father. I thought maybe he could tell me who my mother hung around with
Yeah.
and who her roommate was when she lived in Montana because mom had told me she couldn't remember her roommate's name. So I thought maybe this gentleman could give me some names I could start with.
Yeah.
And instead, I found out that he was a possible
A
potential
possible
father.
candidate. Yeah.
Yeah, a possible candidate. And so I ended up driving to Amarillo and meeting his son in person and doing a DNA test with him. And he wasn't my
It wasn't
brother.
okay.
So
So
another name off the list.
so
Oh,
another one off the list.
yeah, another one off the list. So I mean, so that's how I started. I ended up joining all kinds of Facebook groups for people in the Air Force, for people that were stationed in Glasgow, Montana in the late 60s.
Yeah.
I mean, you name it, I went down rabbit holes. I went
And
off the rail.
did you get like any clues from like your mother's high school sweetheart and like potentially his brother's family? Did like that like
No, unfortunately, yeah,
so that was a dead
unfortunately,
end.
no. Yeah, it was a
So
dead
that was a
end.
dead end. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
So
it
what
really
was like
was.
the second lead? Like what happened after that? Like what was the next big like
Um,
step in the progress?
I ended up because I even contacted the Department of Defense and said, okay, is there a way that I can get who was stationed at that base at that time? Because all my mom would tell me was that he was military and blonde and blue eyed. I was
Okay.
like, okay, well, I'm blonde, blue eyed. Makes sense.
Okay,
And
okay.
they're like, no, we can't do that. And it's like,
You're
okay, well,
like,
it's worth
okay,
a shot. And and they were like, there's a lot of men that came in and out between the Air Force and Army, and it's like, okay, got it. And so I ended up, while I was waiting to try to figure out what my next move would be and to see what I could find through Facebook and connections that way, because people were contacting other people to see
yeah,
who they knew that might remember names. I did my DNA through Ancestry.com and 23andMe. And I did it kind of naively because I wasn't thinking about the fact that I would get familial matches. I was thinking about how they advertise you can find out who your ancestors were, meaning
yeah.
what part of the country and world they come from. That's what I was thinking of because I lost my Cherokee. So where did my ancestors come from? That's what I was thinking of. Well, I got that. Found out I'm Irish and Scottish. Well, duh. And that made sense.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but with that, I also got names of cousins that I didn't recognize. These were not
Okay.
names that were associated with my mom's family or that I had ever heard before. The only catch was the closest match was a second cousin. And the one that was willing to talk with me and help me, both of her parents had very large families. Both of
Mhm.
her parents were one of like, I want to say 12 kids each.
Damn.
So, yeah, no kidding.
Damn.
So it was like, oh my Lord, this is going to take a while. And we couldn't figure it out because I really thought that he was in the Air Force, and I was right. But she couldn't remember anybody that was in the Air Force that would have been the right age.
Yeah.
I hit a wall. I mean, we did digging for quite some time, but couldn't find anything. So I finally ended up contacting the progenealogist at Ancestry.com, and they helped me.
Okay.
So, and they were able to figure it out.
Okay. And how close did were they able to like fully match you with like who your birth father was, or was it like they kind of like put you on the next step in the journey?
Um, they basically, bottom line, they figured it out.
Okay.
Because, and the reason I kind of hesitate is because they weren't willing to say this is him for the simple fact that the man was dead and
Okay.
he had no known living children. And so they didn't want to tell me, yes, this is him. But, and actually, it was a toss up between two brothers. Both of them were dead.
Okay.
But I had the information and I was like, I knew exactly which one it was between age, where he was stationed, and the other one at the time I was conceived was a senior in high school in another state.
Makes
Logically, it meant that, yeah, it meant
yeah,
that
it
the
makes
older
sense.
that was in the Air Force and stationed where I was conceived would be the father.
Yeah.
So,
All right, cool. So you find out who your
yeah.
dad is. Did you confront your mother about it, or like how does the story get deeper than this? Like what's next after this?
Um, yeah. Actually, the dad who raised me was with me when I found out, and he was super excited for me that I found out. I didn't tell my mom at first. He actually told her before I did.
Nice. Okay.
And so she finally called me and she was like, okay, Missy, I hear you know. What's his name? Because she swore she didn't know his name. And when I told her his name was Danny, she goes, oh, I always called him Dan. I'm like, oh my gosh, mom.
Like what's up?
Yeah.
Like what's going on with you right now?
Yeah. But um, I love my mom.
Yeah.
And the book was hard to write because, and honestly, the podcast interviews sometimes are too,
No, I believe that. Yeah.
because she doesn't come out looking really good, to be honest. I mean, she lied to me my whole life. And when I asked her point blank, she still lied to me about it. And, but I love her and I forgave her.
Yeah, of course.
And she's my mom.
That's Mama Bear. You got to.
Yep,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
And did did you find out when you found everything out? Did that kind of like put a strain on the relationship between you and your mother, or
Yes, it did.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we went from being best friends and doing lots of things together to, for almost a year, she wouldn't look at me, wouldn't talk to me. If I called or texted her, she wouldn't answer. My
mm.
dad would call me back or text me back to find out what it was I needed. Yeah,
No, man, that's why.
yeah,
That's why
yeah.
because
And
no, you were saying.
I think it was, well, I was just going to say, it's kind of funny because everybody's always like, she closed the door, you didn't? And it's like, yeah. And I'm sure it's because she was ashamed. And so,
but but life happens. These things kind of
yes,
happen, and I don't know. Maybe it's me. I don't feel like your mom should have been ashamed. Like when you found out,
yeah,
she should have been a little bit more open with you. At least that's what I
yeah,
think. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
are you guys like close now though? Like now you
yeah,
guys are good.
we're good now.
All
Yeah,
right, good. That's a good thing.
yeah.
Wow, so that's insane. So so like when you found out who your dad really was what was going through your head? Was it like finally the search is over? Were you excited? Did you like kind of like communicate with his current living family and all that?
Yeah, when I finally found out, it was kind of a relief to know, but I was also kind of sad because he was dead, and so I wasn't going
Mm,
to get to meet him. Um, I have met his family, and they are absolutely amazing. His sister and all his cousins have welcomed me with open arms, and I've met his wife or his widow and his stepdaughters, and they've all been great. And I have a half sister, if we can ever find her, that is half Thai and lives in Thailand. So,
wow. Are you like on the search for your sister now for like the sequel?
kind of. First, we got to figure out what her name is because nobody
Yeah.
remembers. All they remember is her nickname. So, we got to remember what her legal name is to
Oh
find her.
man,
So, yeah.
that's crazy. That's crazy. So like with throughout this journey, how did it like help build like because I know you had lost one part of your identity. When
Mhm.
throughout this journey, how did it help build like kind of like how did it help you rebuild your identity when you were like on this journey searching for your dad?
For one, I realized that my identity wasn't set in who my father was, it was set in me and who I am and the choices I make and how I do things, not him. And it also, my identity is in God. He's my father. He's the only father I really need, and he loves me no matter what. So,
That's a big
and
fact.
he's always there for me.
That's true.
So, yep.
Oh man, that's so crazy. So were you when you were doing all this, were you like in the process of writing the book or did the book come afterward?
It came out much, or it came out much
Much
later.
later? Much later?
Yeah,
Because
I was 45 when it all started happening, and I was 55 when I wrote it. So, and I had actually planned on waiting until my mother passed away before I wrote it. And then I decided I wasn't going to wait.
and
So,
all right. So just dissecting the journey a little bit, was there any like what besides like actually finding out who your dad was there like any like crazy other things that you found out about your family that you were like shocked at or like people that you were related to that you were like shocked at like finding out?
um, well, it was interesting my different family members' responses to the initial discovery because my
Mm,
mom is one of six kids.
okay.
And when I polled her siblings to find out who knew what, one uncle told me to leave it alone. It was none of my business. Another one told me it was about time I figured it out and I should have known this a long time ago. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, what? And then two of her other siblings. who are only 10 years older than me, they were as floored as I was. And
That's
so,
nah, that's dope. That's dope. So like,
yeah.
so when you finally found out and you like finally told the family, did were your uncles, were your aunts and uncles like more supportive now of you? Like, I for the journey that you
Oh,
did now that everything was like
yeah.
done. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
They've
so
all
dope.
been great. And they're all proud of me for writing the book. And so, yeah, it's cool.
And and this is more of like a deeper question. Do you think that in this situation and in other people's situation, do you think like keeping secrets is more to protect the family, or is it like more to protect the individual?
I think for the most part, I lean towards it's to protect the individual.
Okay, I get that.
I mean, sometimes it's to protect the family, but I think it's usually to protect the one person, whether it's to protect the image everybody has of them or to protect a secret that they don't want to get out.
Sure, get that.
Yeah.
And all right.
And I could
So
be wrong.
hey, I always believe that if you're gonna hold something close to the heart, close to the chest, you're protecting more of yourself, unless it's like
Yeah.
something like extremely like life altering that you have to like
Mm.
kind of keep to yourself so that way no one else is affected. Then I get that. But
Yeah.
when you found out who your dad is and you confronted your mom, did you feel any kind of like animosity towards your mother, or did you like automatically like forgive her for it and you were like, hey, I found out, it's cool?
I was automatically, I was fine with it.
Yeah.
The only issue I had was once she went to saying that I was switched at birth and she stuck to it. And she stuck to that for about a month.
Mm,
And I finally had to tell her, look, I could care less who my birth father is, but the fact that you are willing for me to lose my whole family, to lose everybody that I love as being my family, and lose my whole identity, that hurts.
mm. And
That's when it was hard.
nah, nah, that's extremely hard because it's like essentially she's like trying to say that you're not. Essentially, she's saying you're not hers either,
I,
and
exactly.
that's shattering for somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Especially when
it
you have
is.
that like unconditional love for your mom, and that
Right.
kind of and roomies and everybody out there, that love for your mother, especially if you're super tight. Like I'm super close with my mother as well. Like
Mhm.
that love is different from anyone else. You know what I mean?
Oh, it is.
It
Yeah.
is. And with your story, what do you hope that people like when they read the book, when they dive
Mhm.
into the story? What do you want them like to like take with them, or like the message you want to instill in them?
Yeah. The main two things that I hope people get is one, you can forgive anything. And more than that, that God's there. He's there for everything. And He loves us. He loves us no matter what.
True,
So,
I get that. All right, and all right, well, what do you think? Do you believe that the entire process like kind of helped you like heal from like not knowing
oh,
who your
yeah.
dad was and like not having that sense of identity?
Yeah.
And how did that kind of like help you come all together?
Um, ooh, that's a goodie. Um, okay. I'm going to pull a story out of
All
the
right,
daddy files
come on.
for an example. Okay. So I mentioned fleetingly that I had met him for a hot minute when I was 18.
Yeah,
Okay. And when I say I met him, that's kind of an exaggeration. We talked on the phone for 3 hours because I had tracked him down. At that time, Alan was in California. That's the fake birth father.
yeah,
Uh, He was in California. I was in Texas. So we spent 3 hours on the phone. At the end of the conversation, he was supposed to call me the next weekend because
Yeah.
that's, late 80s. It's cheaper on the weekends, cheaper at night to use the phone.
Yeah.
And so I waited. Next weekend comes around, no phone call.
Mm.
So I waited for a week and I called him. And I got a recording. This number's been disconnected, no new number. So I wrote him a letter. It came back, no forwarding address. So here he's pulled a disappearing act again on me.
Yeah.
I was 18 years old. It was my senior year in high school. It was April. I graduated in June. I hadn't dated much up until that point. I graduated June 6th. Within 2 weeks, I had gone out on a blind date, fell for this guy hook, line, and sinker. He proposed. We were engaged to be married the end of August of that same year.
Damn.
Yeah.
Everything was
Two
quick.
weeks. Yeah. 2 weeks before the wedding, he dumped me for his previous fiance.
Oh.
Okay. After that, I spiraled and just went off the rails with guys. Okay.
Yeah.
Fast forward to when I'm 45 years old, going through all, actually, fast forward a little bit farther. Fast forward to when I'm 55. I've gone through all of this. I'm writing the book. As I'm writing the book, it suddenly clicked. That relationship with that guy was actually more of a rebound situation because here my father had dumped me, basically,
Yeah.
again, left me, said he loved me, said he wanted to be a part of my life, and then ghosted me, as we call it now.
Yeah.
He disappeared on me. I had no clue where he was, and I'm left floundering. And then suddenly this young, attractive guy shows up and showers me with attention and love. And I latched onto that and held on tight because
Nah, I
somebody
believe it.
wanted me and loved me. It was rebound. It
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
what we
Absolutely.
traditionally consider rebound, but it was rebound.
Yeah.
And
It was emotional rebound.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so hopefully that answered your question. But my
Yeah.
point is
No, it does.
that it it's just it all circles around and it's so it might take you years before you realize it because it did me. But yeah.
I get that. And right throughout this whole experience, right? Do you think this experience like taught you who you really are as like as a person, like your endurance,
Yes.
your commitment to yourself, and all that?
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah. I've realized I'm stronger than I thought and that yeah,
That's cool.
definitely.
So, so what? So what does family mean to you now? Now that all this is in the light and out in the air.
It's it actually still means the same thing to me as it did before because family is not just blood. I never thought it was just blood. It's I have so many friends and that are more than friends. It's family is who is there for you and loves you and will fight for you, stand up for you, no matter what. I mean,
I
I've
get
got
that.
6 kids and not all of, and I didn't give birth to all of them. I only gave birth
Not.
to 2 of them.
I feel you.
So,
Believe me, my mother's like that too. My friend, she calls all my friends her adopted children. So I
yeah,
know.
half of my kids' friends call me mom. So, I mean, if I went by that
Yeah,
number, I would have 100 or more. So, yeah,
that's like, but love like that's a blessing. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Love like
it
that
is.
is a true blessing. So
Hmm.
what would you say to somebody who something just found out something that changed everything? Like, what would you tell them? Like, any words of encouragement for somebody who like is going through like a life altering
Mhm.
change?
First, take a deep breath. It's not as bad as you think. There will be light at the other side. And when you look back, it, yeah, there's going to be good from it. Whatever it was, there will be good.
I feel you. Hi, Melissa. And before we, sign off, I always ask all my guests, do you have any final thoughts, any words of wisdom, or any advice for the roomies?
Hmm. Okay, I'm a glass half full kind of person, or
Me
even
too.
more than glass half full. So enjoy life, look for the positive, and God's always there for you. All you got to do is call out to Him. So,
That's a big fact. That's a big fact. Melissa, thank you. Your story is inspirational. Roomies, remember, just because things don't seem right, question it, find out for yourself, and
exactly.
learn a lesson from it. With that being said,
Mm.
peace out.